Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast and a game between ATN's Socke and Empire Kaz, game 2 in this series, and we'll see how this game goes. Kaz is spawning as the red Terran. Wait, hold on. Are my ally colors on? Are my colors all funky now? Okay, Socke. Yeah, Socke is the blue. Is the blue Protoss. Meanwhile, Kaz is the red Terran. For some reason, I got my names confused. Yes, I am not going crazy. Anyways, played a couple games on Battle.net today. A little bit of an opening for you guys, since some of you guys are like, "Hey, what does Crota do? How are you on Battle.net?" I'm currently a mid-level Masters or high Diamond. I am in Masters, but I'm more losses than wins, so nothing really good there. Also, not as much time to try to execute my builds and be familiar, as I do a lot of casting. So when I cast, it's probably about 1 hour of casting, another 2 to 3 hours of encoding, and then another hour of uploading. All of which I cannot play during that time. Play StarCraft 2, either because of the lag from the upload or the amount of CPU it takes in order to encode a video. And also, I don't want to leave my computer on overnight, as my computer is a heating machine here in Southern California, where it's already warm enough. Anyways, let's get into this game. We can see now an early scout coming in from Socke. Socke this time choosing not to go for that 15 Nexus as he did on Tal'Darim Altar. A very, very safe choice. Even though this is a macro map, we can see that what Kaz did here. But now Kaz playing the mind tricks once more, and he is now going for a fast expansion. As you can see that there is no gas in play. And Socke just has to be a little bit fooled at this time, knowing that he completely fell into the trap, or the mental trap. And now Kaz will be able to get upgrade to an orbital command. He's going to get a Marine, be able to put some bunkers down on the low ground, and then move into the middle portion of the game with a strong economy very, very easily. 2 pylons already up for Socke. Socke now getting up that cybernetics core as well. And now you can see that one probe trying to delay this one SCV, but a Marine now going to make its way over. The Marine battling it out, and that probe taking some damage already. So that probe days are pretty much numbered. Now taking some more damage, down to 2 hit points. There it goes. First blood. Dealt for Kaz. Kaz getting that first kill there and taking down that critical scouting information as to what will follow up behind this. Now, normally, what I see come in behind this is a 2 more racks, or essentially a triple racks right behind this, as we are now going to see a little bit of a supply block by Kaz. Kaz, forgetting that supply depots take 30 seconds to build, as opposed to pylons or overlords that only take 25. Still don't quite understand why that is the case. Why supply depots take longer than overlords and pylons. That would be like a hatchery taking longer than a nexus or a command center. Anyways, back into the game. SCV gonna come up this side here. Gonna perhaps see the fast the expansion attempt right behind it. Sees the pylon, sees the nexus, and knows that this is going to be turning into a macro game. So no one going to be able to really deal any damage to each other just quite yet. More of a feel each other out and make sure that they are not gonna be blindly training SCVs, forcing them to train up some additional Marines as well. We may get another base by Kaz. He's only running off of 1 gas, and we'll see what's going to be happening here. And normally when I see players fast expand on a map like this, well, normally it's with the Zerg as well. And another expansion quickly always comes in line, as well as that Stalker now catching up to that SCV. But there are going to be 6 Marines there to greet it, and there it is. The Stalker taking or losing all of its shields, essentially down to 14 shields, but we'll be able to back off and sit there nicely. We are running off of triple barracks so far, still training up mass Marines, no tech lab, no factory being added. So Kaz is really just loving this early Marine play, and we'll see how this bodes for him. We are getting some additional gateways. The Marines definitely outnumber his opponent 250 to 100, but the reason why he cannot engage, obviously, is because those probes do deal significant amount of damage, especially in mass numbers. And then obviously, as that warp gate completes, it is going to be very difficult to really do any attacking, as zealots take a very, very little time. Very, very little time to warp in. I believe it's 27 seconds on that cooldown with a 5-second warp in time. Very nice there. a robotics facility also being built as well. So now we see that Socke needs some critical key information from the robotics facility, and now needs to get an observer to figure out what his opponent is doing and what he can try to expect. So this is now in the counter mode where Terran can pretty much either go bio or mech, and then the Protoss has to respond accordingly, either with Colossi and High Templar, or I believe it's Immortals and Void Rays. If it's mass mech, the Vikings are a little bit of a problem there, but the Immortals do clean up those siege tanks rather easily. Also, Stalker now coming around the corner, looking for any proxy barracks or making sure that there's nothing over here off on this side at all, making sure there are no scouting SCVs at all as well. Yeah, no scouting SCVs at all, as I receive a text message that simply distracts me a little bit too much. And we are now going into the Protoss ground armor. So Protoss ground armor, and we should have a decent number of sentries if Socke is going for that Protoss ground armor, and also going into the Twilight Council. Now this is one of those situations where both player is allowing the other player to freely play their game. Now, in a game like this, it is normally the better player who comes out on top. I can't necessarily say that, because whenever you're allowed to really, truly and freely play your game without any pressure, both sides can come up with some crazy antics. And as a Terran player, with all your possibilities of harassment, with Banshees, with Hellions, with that drop play, which is so effective for Terran, it's rather surprising that Kaz isn't doing any drops or anything to try to keep track of his opponent. You can see that a factory now doing a bit of scouting, however, getting pushed back by a couple of stalkers here now on the low ground, as we are going to have Marines and Marauders pushed away, and one stalker, quickly seeing this, knows to get away, as we are now going to get an observer keeping track of this factory. The factory is a little bit smoking, but not yet on fire. Marines and the Marauders simply making their way forward. More Zealots are being warped in as well. We can get level 2 weapons upgrade in just a moment, and that is going to be an issue, as we are now going into ground weapons or ground upgrades. So one Zealot over here going to completely get torn down. We are now going to have a Zealots and Sentries. Where are those force fields? Force fields could be coming in. No, Socke deciding to back off, getting a nice round of Zealot warp-ins, and Socke with now a much larger army ready to push back anything his opponent is able to throw at him, especially with those Zealots with a base 2 base armor, also with those Sentries of base 2 armor. And I'm not sure if Kaz actually saw the level 1 armor upgrades, but if he did in fact see it, he knows that he needs to wait for those weapons upgrades to complete on those Marines and Marauders before he really wants to engage. We are now going into an armory. So an armory now, this armory going to be just dealing upgrading perhaps to level 2 weapons upgrade and level 2 armor upgrade on the engineering bay. For some reason, I expected another engineering bay right there. That seems like a prime position for it, as we are going into 5 racks play. Supply drops now being used, as well as Kaz does not want to be supply blocked. We are now seeing more supply depots still being added. That one factory is still doing a lot of scouting information. He can see that the Zealot charge has been completed. If he clicks on a Zealot, Blink has not yet been completed either, as the Templar Archives also in play as well, meaning that we should be getting some Ghost. Socke now losing his factory here, so we'll see if any Ghosts are added. I don't think we have any Ghosts in play right now, but we also don't have any Psystorm just quite yet, as the Templar Archives not even being chrono boosted right now, and a little bit strange, perhaps waiting for a round of warp-in in order to reinforce as opposed to anything else. We now see Kaz expanding into his third base, as we also see Socke also expanding into his third base. So this is going to be 3 base versus 3 base on Shakuras, as we also see this one medevac dropping up on the high ground and going to try to put some pressure down here. Marines and Marauders, 3 Marauders, 2 Marines looking to destroy this one Nexus. Marauders and Marines now engaging in the center portion of the map. Zealots now trying to pull back. It looks as though there are enough High Templars, but there is nothing on them. No Psystorm, only feedback, but the medevacs are very much heavy on energy. They could easily get destroyed. And now a scanner sweep does reveal these High Templars still waiting on Psystorm. I don't know if Socke realizes that he doesn't have Psystorm. There he goes, finally starts to research it. As it appears that Kaz doesn't know he has his own group of Marauders and Marines here. It looks like it will quickly be revealed as a pylon now will be warped up on that high ground in just a moment. Sensor tower and also going into Ghost for Ghost in order to try to shut this down in just a moment. As probes are now making their way in, warping in a lot of pylons here, and now you can also see Zealots and Stalkers in full retreat. What is going to happen with this probe? Marauders and Marines now coming in to engage. The one Marine, oh, very, very nice pickup there. Is it going to actually go after any of those units? More Zealots now warping in, backing, and there's the feedback onto the medevac. The medevac unable to drop all of its energy quickly enough, and now going to continue to damage after that Stalker. No, the Zealots are going to get stutter-stepped just a little bit, but I believe there are just too many units there. One Zealot may get taken down, continuing to battle it out. One Zealot, another Zealot may get destroyed, and oh, nicely done. Just using that stutter step, getting a lot of damage and being able to shut that down there, as we are now getting Zealots, Sentries, and Stalkers moving out once more. Kaz in a very defensive position, having a lot of bio, should be able to handle this rather easily, as Ghost and now the Mobius reactor being researched. So we have 6-7 Ghosts now making their way in. The Ghost is going to go after that one poor Stalker. Stalker going to get destroyed. Scanner sweep hitting a lot of those units, and now, oh, feedback onto a couple of those Ghosts. Gonna snipe down, finish off the rest of that swarm of Ghosts there. He didn't need another EMP shockwave, kind of wasting it in that engagement. And now pushing down over here, you can see a lot of Zealots and Sentries are back over here, as the Terran player does have the larger army at this point, and still getting more and more units. Still, however, we do not have a Raven. So without a Raven, this is going to be rather difficult for Kaz to spot any of those observers unless he gets lucky with scanner sweeps. And oh, a 3 hit point Zealot surviving to live and fight another day. We can see a couple High Templar here and here. A Psystorm could be coming in. Scanner sweep did reveal there's one Psystorm, as that's other High Templar does have enough for a Psystorm now. More EMP shockwave coming in. Force fields finally coming in as well. This may be a bit of a problem, as now Kaz trying to battle it out. Another Psystorm coming in. EMP shockwave not hitting anything at all, as those Marines and Marauders trying to stay alive, as there are still a lot of medevacs in the air. He could easily do a drop into the main base to try to shut this down. You can see also a lot of Ghosts here. What is that? 8 Ghosts, 9 Ghosts currently in the field, 10 Ghosts now in the field. So that is going to be a lot of EMP, as an SCV is going to have a double expansion at the 17-minute mark. Both sides sitting at maximum food. You can now see Socke on the left-hand side. He has those Colossi. Does he have... No, sorry, he has those High Templar. He doesn't have those Colossi. Oh, and a double snipe onto one of those Ghosts there. We're going to get another snipe. Oh, feedback. Yeah, snipe, and another feedback, and another snipe. So exchanging Ghost for High Templars, but I'm not quite sure who wins out on this battle. The Ghosts are there to try to counter the High Templars. The High Templars are there to counter the Ghosts, and that just seems to be how the ways things are going. And wow, massive feedback coming across all of these units, and you can see how low energy these Ghosts currently have. The Stalkers don't have blink though, so they are not going to be able to engage. Marines and the Marauders are now pushing back into the center. No feedback onto those medevacs. Both sides still fighting. You can see how much damage is being dealt. No, oh, Psystorm could be coming in. There's a Psystorm, and now Kaz is in retreat, but Kaz still has the larger army, but many of those medevacs could get taken down rather easily. Yes, you can see how much damage, and now more snipes still. So Kaz looking absolutely brilliant with his snipes, getting in a lot of damage, as the Marauders are now the medevacs doing their jobs, trying to heal back the rest of this army. But this army is starting to look very weak. The medevacs are low on hit points, but the army size is still larger in terms of minerals, but not in terms of gas. So it is not nearly as different as you may assume or expect it to be. A 700 resource total difference, but it is a 30-some food difference, as we are now expanding into this location here by Kaz. Kaz having an amazing economic lead. with 6 Marines now being trained. Marauders, Marines, Medevacs, a lot of bunkers down in this position. The bunkers don't even have anything inside it. It just looks very, very formidable. However, the animation would normally show you that those bunkers are not currently loaded with any unit. Scanner sweep now coming back in once more. There's an EMP shockwave dealing a little but not much damage at all. Proxy pylon in the center portion of the map will get destroyed. Stalkers, Zealots now trying to run by, but wow, Socke just losing a lot of units here, and he overextended himself straight into the main portion of the field, as we also now have a warp prism. Psystorm, Zealots now warping in straight into the mineral line, getting some damage here. The worker kills are starting to rack up. We are getting some Marauders now up onto that high ground, and more Zealots are still just running rampant through the base. Isn't going to be enough. We still have this one High Templar. This High Templar is rather low on energy. Zealots are going to engage. SCVs are all right there, and there's a Psystorm, and oh, what a massive number of kills. 11 kills. But in the main battle here, Marauders, EMP shockwaves. Are we going to get more Psystorm? Yeah, more Psystorm coming in once again. Zealots trying to charge. Are they going to be able to surround them? Medevacs don't have that much energy. Continuing to push more Psystorms still, as these units are desperately trying to run away. The Zealots do have charge, so they will be able to constantly hit those units rather easily. And now the Marauders are backing off, as the Zealots are hitting the main production buildings and really starting to slow things down. And there's the GG by Kaz. So Kaz, who had a larger army for much of the battle, losing to a warp prism drop by Socke, focusing attention, and then Psystorms started to go in favor of Socke. Whenever it is Ghosts versus High Templars, you know that one side of the casters will get destroyed, and whatever side loses their casters first end up losing the game. And that was the case in this matchup, as Socke able to get some Psystorm and some critical feedbacks and take down all those units. So yes, Socke now evening up the series at 1 game apiece. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.